For decades, we've been told the same thing. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Parents repeat it, schools reinforce it, cereal commercials ingrain it into our brains before we can even spell metabolism. But in recent years, that long-held belief has been challenged. Millions of people now skip breakfast intentionally, claiming better focus, fat loss, and metabolic health. So who's actually right? Is eating breakfast every day the foundation of long-term health? Or is skipping breakfast the smarter move for modern humans? To answer that, we need to step beyond slogans and dive into biology, history, behavior, and real-world outcomes. Breakfast didn't always exist the way we know it today. For most of human history, structured meals were rare. Early humans ate when food was available, not by the clock. There was no morning meal carved into stone tablets. The idea of breakfast as a mandatory daily ritual only became widespread during the Industrial Revolution, when factory schedules demanded predictable energy intake. Later, food companies turned breakfast into a product category, not a biological necessity. This matters because it means our bodies were never designed around a universal breakfast rule. When people argue in favor of eating breakfast every day, they often point to energy, focus, and metabolism. Eating in the morning does provide glucose, which the brain uses heavily. For some people, this results in better concentration, improved mood, and fewer energy crashes. Children and adolescents, especially, tend to benefit from morning nutrition because their brains are still developing and their energy demands are high. For them, skipping breakfast can impair memory, attention, and academic performance. However, adults are a different story. The adult human body is remarkably adaptable. After sleeping, the body is already in a fasted state. Liver glycogen has been partially depleted, insulin levels are low, and fat burning is elevated. Eating breakfast interrupts this fast, shifting the body back into glucose metabolism. Skipping breakfast extends the fast, which may promote metabolic flexibility, the ability to switch efficiently between fuel sources. One of the strongest arguments for breakfast is its association with healthier lifestyles. People who eat breakfast regularly tend to exercise more, smoke less, and consume more micronutrients overall. But association is not causation. These individuals may be healthier not because they eat breakfast, but because they engage in healthier behaviors across the board. When studies control for lifestyle factors, the protective effect of breakfast often weakens or disappears entirely. On the other side, breakfast skipping is commonly associated with intermittent fasting. This eating pattern compresses daily food intake into a smaller time window, often 6 to 10 hours. Intermittent fasting has been linked to improved insulin sensitivity, reduced inflammation, and better fat oxidation in many adults. Skipping breakfast is simply the most convenient way to practice it. One key issue in this debate is appetite regulation. Eating breakfast can reduce hunger later in the day for some people, preventing overeating at night. But for others, breakfast actually stimulates appetite and leads to higher total calorie intake. This difference comes down to hormonal responses. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, behaves differently in different individuals. Some people feel ravenous after eating early, while others feel stable and satisfied. Insulin response also plays a major role. A high-carbohydrate breakfast can cause a rapid spike in blood sugar, followed by a crash that triggers hunger within hours. This can create a cycle of snacking and cravings throughout the day. In contrast, skipping breakfast keeps insulin low and stable, which may reduce hunger and promote fat burning. However, this benefit depends heavily on what someone eats later. Skipping breakfast, but overeating ultra-processed foods at lunch negates any advantage. Long-term weight management is often the main concern people have. The evidence here is surprisingly mixed. Some studies show that breakfast eaters weigh less on average. Others show no difference. Randomized controlled trials, the gold standard, often find that forcing breakfast on habitual skippers leads to weight gain, while forcing skipping on habitual breakfast eaters causes discomfort and reduced adherence. This suggests that consistency and personal preference matter more than the rule itself. Metabolism is another misunderstood factor. Many people believe skipping breakfast slows metabolism, putting the body into starvation mode. This idea has been largely debunked. Short-term fasting does not shut down metabolism. In fact, Resting energy expenditure often remains the same or slightly increases due to elevated norepinephrine. True metabolic slowdown occurs with prolonged calorie restriction over weeks or months, not by skipping a single meal. From a hormonal perspective, fasting in the morning can increase growth hormone levels, which support fat loss and muscle preservation. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is naturally higher in the morning, which helps mobilize energy. Eating early can blunt this response, while fasting aligns with the body's natural rhythm. That said, for people already under high stress, skipping breakfast may exacerbate anxiety or irritability. Gut health is another overlooked angle. Eating immediately upon waking may not give the digestive system enough time to fully reset. Some people experience bloating, discomfort, or sluggish digestion from early meals. Others feel worse when they don't eat, experiencing nausea or acid buildup. Again, individual response is key. Cultural context matters too. In some countries, breakfast is light or even skipped entirely without negative effects. In others, breakfast is a social and nutritional cornerstone. There is no universal human experience when it comes to morning eating. Our bodies respond not just to food, but to routine, expectations, and environment. Athletes often need breakfast, especially those training in the morning. Performance, strength, and endurance can suffer without fuel. But for sedentary individuals or those exercising later in the day, skipping breakfast may be neutral or beneficial. The demands placed on the body dictate fuel needs more than the clock does. Mental clarity is another dividing line. Some people report sharper focus when fasted, likely due to stable blood sugar and increased catecholamines. Others feel foggy, distracted, and irritable without food. Neither experience is wrong. They reflect differences in insulin sensitivity, sleep quality, and stress levels. The long-term winner in this debate isn't breakfast or skipping breakfast, it's alignment. The eating pattern that works long-term is the one you can sustain without stress, guilt, or constant hunger. Health is not built on isolated meals, but on patterns repeated over years. Eating breakfast every day can be a powerful anchor for healthy habits if it includes whole foods, protein, fiber, and micronutrients. Skipping breakfast can be equally powerful if it supports metabolic health, appetite control, and mental clarity. Problems arise when breakfast is ultra-processed sugar, or when skipping breakfast leads to binge eating later. One of the biggest mistakes people make is forcing themselves into a pattern that doesn't suit them. A breakfast lover who skips out of guilt may sabotage their entire day. A natural breakfast skipper who forces food early may disrupt hunger cues and energy balance. Long-term health outcomes depend far more on food quality, sleep, movement, stress management, and consistency than on whether you eat at 7 a.m. or 12 p.m. The human body is flexible, but the human mind resists unnecessary rules. If breakfast helps you feel energized, focused, and balanced, it's not your enemy. If skipping breakfast simplifies your life, improves your relationship with food, and helps you maintain a healthy weight, it's not a problem to fix. The real danger lies in dogma, the belief that one rule fits everyone. So, who wins long-term? The person who listens to their body, chooses real food, and sticks to a routine they can maintain for years without burnout. Breakfast isn't the most important meal of the day. The most important thing is what you do consistently, day after day, year after year. And in the end, health doesn't care what time you eat. It cares how you live. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth isn't black and white. Breakfast isn't a rule, and skipping it isn't a rebellion. Long-term health isn't about copying someone else's routine. It's about understanding your own body and choosing what you can sustain for years, not weeks. So instead of asking whether breakfast is good or bad, ask a better question. What actually works for me? If this video helped you think differently about food, metabolism, and long-term health, make sure to like the video. It really helps this channel reach more people who need clarity instead of confusion. Subscribe if you want more deep dive content that cuts through nutrition myths and actually explains the science in a way that makes sense. And if you know someone who still feels guilty for skipping breakfast or forces themselves to eat when they're not hungry, share this video with them. It might change how they look at food forever. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.